Hello, welcome. Another episode of the RSL Random Fan Podcast. I'm still a host, Brandt Goebel, joined by
Tyler Thomas. How's it going
and
tonight, Brandt?
not too bad. As I say, I was going to wait for Brendan to join us, but he's not.
Yeah, he won't
He's
be here
not going to
tonight.
join us for the first couple of seasons. We didn't have, we had seems like we had all the time in the world. Now all of a sudden, this start of the 2024 has been kind of busy for all of us, but we are making extra effort to be here tonight and chat about the game between Real Salt Lake and the formerly undefeated or
Undefeated.
a team without a loss, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could take it one of two ways. You're not going to go through MLS undefeated. It just doesn't happen, right? Um, I think it happened in the Premier League once, and it was Arsenal, of course,
Of course.
because we love them. Yes, because we love Arsenal, and it was Thierry Henry's team, and that guy was so good, and that was their goal, is to go undefeated, so no losses whole Premier League season. But you know.
Yeah, and
That's not really going to happen here.
before the game, um, they had 3 wins, 4 draws, and no losses, and only 13 points, which it
Yeah,
all
that's
adds
a
up.
lot of draws.
It is a lot of draws, and that's kind of like, could their season go one way or the other? They should be, if they were a little bit better, their season goes, they're at the top of the table. If it goes the other way, maybe they're in 8th instead of 7th.
Well, and they got thumped in the Champions League, like thumped. That was not good. So they fell out hard of the Champions League, which there's only 4 teams left now anyway. And Columbus has an outside chance of holding on over there, but yeah, it was interesting the way we started. I mean, their team, like, let's give them some respect. They have some really good players on their team. Andre Blake, international goalkeeper, right? Jamaican international, does a ton of work there. Jack Elliott and Glasnes, and even Wagner. I'm not German, but I think that's how you say it. Is Wagner, and then Javier. Those guys are good. They're really good defensive team. So I was a little worried. I was predicting a 2-1 loss for RSL. So, you know,
I was expecting
didn't
a
look good for me.
Yeah, I was expecting a 2-0 loss. So I wasn't really. It's one of those games where I thought, if you go in there and you play well and you lose 1-0, 2-1,
Yeah,
you gave it effort. Philadelphia is
right.
supposed to be a good team, but um, you can also go out there without a care in the world, and because you are a great road team, and beat them at home.
Yeah, and see how it goes. Go for it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah. So they have great players. They have a great lineup. They have a coach who's very committed to the process and very good at, like, I don't know if you listened to the post game, but he was very complimentary of RSL. But he was also like, I think we outplayed him. Like, we outplayed him, but sometimes you outplay him and it still doesn't go your way. So we'll kind of break that down as we go through. And Brent, you want to take us through the RSL lineup?
yeah. Let's do that. We will start with Zach McMath in goal, and then across the back line we had Alex Catranis,
Yeah.
left back, Brian Vera, Justin Glad, and Bodie Hidalgo on the right side. What were your thoughts on that with Brody getting a break?
For me, that's great. I think that's our strongest defensive lineup. For me, I mean, I like Brody. I think he brings something unique. I don't think he's bringing a whole lot more than Hidalgo brings. To me, I'd rather see Hidalgo there. I like the bigger, win the ball more kind of defender. To me, that makes more sense. But I really think that's our best defensive lineup right there. Those 5.
Yeah, and I still think that Bodie and Brody, Hidalgo and Bodie Hidalgo and yeah, I'm trying to figure
Andrew,
out how to
Andrew
play with their
Brody,
names, but those two,
Andrew
Andrew
Hidalgo,
and Bodie,
Andrew
Hidalgo
Hidalgo.
and Brody, I I think they they're getting Bodie has the ability to get better, hopefully. And Brody's, I think he's reached his peak, but it is kind of like the weakest spot on the team right now. Maybe not in depth wise. It's nice to have those two players there,
Right, and they're
but
both solid, but they're
both,
not standout.
yeah, not
Yeah.
standout. So, but I did like that back line, and then I was glad to see Glad and Vera back because
Yep.
I thought Quentin might get a shot, but if Glad and Vera are back and they're healthy, then we'll see where RSL ships Quentin off to. Which USL team RSL ships Philip off to? Hopefully not.
Yeah. Well,
He's
I thought it was interesting. Quinn Sullivan playing for Philadelphia. He's an exciting young player, and the kid has some gusto, but the veteran presence of Brian and Glad. Sorry,
yeah.
playing with their names again. Of Justin and Vera. No, they really showed their class and experience, and I think they just outclassed him. He really didn't get much of a sniff at goal at all, and he's been kind of tearing it up from what I've seen at Philadelphia. So
Yeah.
that was great.
And then we have our rocks in the midfield, Ojeda and Nelly. I don't think those guys are going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then above them we had Barajas with the start. Luna was out. He had a calf strain. I picked up, didn't make the trip.
They said he couldn't quite push off sufficient to really gain acceleration, and so they didn't want to chance it.
Yeah, why? Why chance it? Especially start of the season.
Right.
Give Matt Crook's in the middle, and Matt has drawn a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on Matt. Andres Gomez on the right.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
And then our 9.5. What should we call him?
9.95, baby.
9.5 Chicho.
Woo! Yeah, dude, he's great. Yep. Yeah, so I think attacking wise, we're kind of there. Definitely Arango and Gomez are heads and shoulders above the guys behind them because of what they can do. Gomez is just unique enough as a player that he can get by just about anyone. He's shifty. He's got that like wild eye to run by people and with reckless abandon, which I really, really appreciate that about him. But his decision making still is not great, right? Like they were on a 4-on-2 break and he shot from outside the box. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
He had he had two long shots right to the keeper. Not very dangerous in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just like, oh boy. Okay. But you know what? You take the good with the inexperience, right? So hopefully he gets the next play right. Hopefully he gets the next one right. And he did. As an attacker, you only have to be right once or twice a game to look like a stud. If you're right once or twice in defense, though, you're horrible and you can't play in this league. You know what I mean?
If you're wrong once or twice on defense, you can be wrong the whole game and score a goal and you're a hero. But on defense, you give up one goal and it's curtains for you. So on the bench too, we had Gavin Beaters and we had Andrew Brody, Brian Oviedo, Michael Chang, Anderson, Julio, Philip, Quinton, Bertine Jacquestin made the trip. I was excited to see that. I thought he might see some time. And Nelson Palacio rounded out the bench for us.
Yeah, Jacquestin kind of took the place of Gozo the last few games. I think Gozo got the start in the Monarchs. So
yeah, I saw that. I don't know how it turned out, but I saw that he was starting. So
1-0 Monarchs.
Oh, nice. And the goal went to
whoever scored it.
Excellent. Good call.
That knocked
it
in.
Tom.
Yeah, they nicked that goal. Sorry, I don't pay close attention to the Monarchs just because I'm so into RSL. You know what I mean? So into it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I
can't cover them that way.
I want them to do well. I want the Royals to do well. I want all of Utah to do well. All of the Utah, especially them Utah kids, right?
Right, like Hidalgo, right?
Yeah,
love that kid. And Goza.
So, yeah, I thought it was interesting rewatching the game. I got to listen to it. We were working with my wife, but the game started off like it gangbusters.
Yeah, it was a lot back and forth, and then it started to get a little chippy.
Hey,
I
it
think for the
started.
first, I think the first 20, 30 minutes,
Excuse me.
maybe it was 15, they were dominating the ball. They were kind of owning us, and they weren't getting great chances, but we weren't really closing them down as well as I thought we were going to. And so I was a little worried, honestly, in that first little bit when things were not quite, going our way.
Well, I've noticed that in 45 seconds, not even the first minute, Philadelphia had a player down.
Oh, right.
And then few like a minute later, Hidalgo was down. And they have the new rule where if you have an injury and you have to come
15
off,
seconds, right?
you have to come
Is
off
that
for
what it
2
is?
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you get your block knocked off. There's an exception for head injury.
Head.
So
Okay.
they'll check you out, and maybe because they think it takes 2 minutes anyway, you can come back in. But if you get your head knocked off, you don't have to come out. Which I thought was kind of interesting.
But if
Than
you get
just
your
being
ankle clocked, you got to sit out for 2 minutes.
yeah, yeah.
Have you seen that happen anywhere yet? I haven't seen anyone sit out for 2 minutes.
I
They don't
I
start a
haven't
clock or
yet.
something. This is like a penalty box, They have to stand in a designated area. I have so many questions about this.
Yeah, and it brings up somewhere they were talking about using the sin bin somewhere next
Yeah,
season,
right?
and I,
For
I don't even
orange
want to get I
cards.
don't even want to get started on that. Just the thought of it makes me irate. But but RSL, I thought they were on him all the game. They to start the game they were on him. I mean, like I said, Gomez had 2 shots in the first 6 minutes, and Chicho Arango pressed Blake and uh, got a piece of the ball. So I thought the game just started like from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds. They were
Yeah.
they were going at each other, and then it was just back and forth the whole game.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting too how even the first goal played out, right? Um, we won the ball in the back. Ojeda kind of knocked the ball forward, and the forward, I can't remember which one of them, kind of grabbed him. And I mean, obviously it was a foul. It probably could have easily been a yellow, but he was just like, "All right, play," and then he sat the ball down and kicked it quick, and we went down and scored. Like, I mean, I mean, it was Ojeda standing at the top of the box, right? And then he played it out wide, and then they worked it back into Chicho. He had kind of had that lucky touch going by. Was it Gonzalez or anyway? Somebody in the middle there. Maybe Bedoya. Bedoya looks old though. Anyway,
And he was Bedoya. They called his name quite a bit because he was seems like he was into the action a lot.
yeah, he seemed to try to want to be the enforcer, but he's not. He's not an enforcer, and he's kind of just comes across like a chump. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like he kind of reminded me a little bit of what I like to see in Kyle Beckerman, right? That gutsy, gritty, kind of fu mentality.
Yeah,
I'm not here for you, kind of player, which is fine. I don't mind seeing that in another team. It kind of builds that camaraderie in that other team, and that's fine. It kind of makes me respect Philadelphia and what they're doing.
yeah.
But
Philadelphia has been really good at developing young players and playing a cohesive system, and I think they do it from top to bottom, kind of like what
yeah,
RSL is trying to do now. The same system we play at the top, we're going to play at the U16 all the way the uh, through the through the team,
yeah.
through the different clubs levels. And Bedoya did a good job defending the ball early on, right before the goal. He caught his own teammate drilled him right in the back, and it went out for an RSL goal kick.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. They had a good shot on goal, and he blocked it for us. That was very nice. Thank you, Senor. Yeah, I thought it was
Bedoya.
interesting. Yeah, Bedoya. It sounds. Anyway, we'll talk about his name origin another time.
So
But
you diagrammed the goal. There was, like you said, the Ojeda had the quick start right in front of our box, right? Right outside
Yeah.
our 18, and we were down on them with the lucky Chet Arango with the lucky clip past a defender, and then gave it to Gomez. And is it a?
Yeah.
What do you think of the shot? Is that something Blake should have stopped, or was it just
Yeah.
too much power?
No, there's no such thing as too much power. You can only kick a soccer ball so hard, and a good goalie knocks that down in front of him and catches it. Right? That's how you take the sting out of the ball, is you block it. You put your hands at an angle so that when it hits your hands, it goes straight down. But then you also put your body in a position in case it squirts through your legs that you can go grab it too. Right?
Well,
But
look,
I mean, he did hit it hard, and his first two shots were pretty weak, so maybe that was his. Maybe he was setting him up. He's like, I'm gonna lob a few little ones in there, all soft, and then boom! Here comes the power.
yeah, it
And
looked like
he did shoot right-footed. I mean, Gomez has scored pretty good with his left as well, which, I mean, for being right-footed, he's pretty ambidextrous, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Jack Elliott stepped out, and that's what got Chicho over there. And Gomez, like, hey, young kids, like, listen up, okay?
Listen, kids.
When you get in the box, you do exactly what Gomez did. You take a touch to set yourself up and steady yourself, and then you blast that ball at goal. Take a touch, have a shot. In fact, there's a drill I do as a coach where I'm like, okay, guys, we're doing take a touch, have a shot. Take a touch, have a shot. Take a touch, have a shot. No matter where the ball falls, you just take a touch and shoot it. And you know what? Cool things happen when you do that. Sometimes horrible things happen in practice. I mean, you just sky the ball over a lot. That happens a lot, right? Because you're so anxious to kick it and you sky it. But Gomez, man, he just smacked it right at Blake, and he wasn't expecting that. And so he kind of got his hand down funny, and it ended up popping up, and he ended up in the goal. So that was interesting. I was like, how did that go in?
Yeah, yeah. At least it went in. That's all we care. And
Well,
Chicho
and
with
out of
another
nothing.
assist.
And not out of nothing, though, right? That's the difference. Like, yes, we didn't have great chances in this game, but that was a decent chance. But you got to have a really good finish, usually from that angle at that space, to score a goal in MLS, right? You've got to point that right in the corner. You got to low to the far post or high to the near. Is usually where you're shooting and aiming and going after it, getting after that, and he just Blake was like, he kicked it right at me. What's he doing? And then it fumbled over and fell in. So that, I mean, advantageous goal for sure. Does Andre Blake want that back? Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's just a lesson in get the ball on frame, which seems like it would be, as a random human who never plays the game and as an avid soccer watcher, you would think that getting the ball on frame would be a million times more easy and more frequent. But it
But
just
it's
goes to show
not.
you how difficult this game actually can be when the best players in the world, well, best players in the United States, and even in the world,
Yeah,
can't
struggle with that.
consistently get the ball on frame.
Yeah. Well, things happen, right? I mean, you miss it by just a little bit. Your foot's a little off on your angle of your foot, right? Or you're swinging in a roundabout instead of straight through the ball. Like lots of things can happen to cause that. And that's why you practice, right? And you practice unloading that ball. And then, you get in a game, you just take a touch and hit it, right? Like, and that's exactly what happened. And I mean, I think 80 times out of 100 he saves that, right? Or
Maybe
maybe
even,
90,
yeah, maybe I was going to say 85, 90. That
maybe
ball gets saved.
95.
But it could
Yeah,
be, maybe 85 times out of 100, Gomez doesn't hit that ball as sweet, too.
yeah,
Maybe he hit it so it looked like maybe there's a little movement on that thing and caught the
could have been.
keeper off guard, and it just went up
Yeah.
and over him. So
Obviously, it didn't go where Blake thought it was going because he blocked it awkwardly and it ended up over the top of him and in the goal. So,
yeah, that's why I thought maybe he had a little knuckle on
very
it.
fortuitous. Yeah.
So surprisingly,
That wasn't
RSL.
the most fortuitous goal of the game.
No, 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 that's interesting. We have 3 goals, and even the really, really great one comes off. We'll talk about it. Comes off a little bit of a lucky bounce, so to speak. But any other thoughts on the first half? It was getting a little chippy, or Chicho got fouled and ended up getting a yellow card, probably for dissent, yelling at the
Oh
ref.
yeah. No, I kind of want to break that down. So there were a couple of Chicho haters in Philly. So if you remember, Chicho was on LAFC when they won the cup and they beat Philadelphia, and then they moved him, and the next year he came to RSL. So there's a little bit of a break there, but there was some guy ranting on Twitter about how bad he hates Chicho, about get up. Now, this play was very interesting to me because Chicho came down and he's looking for the ball, and then he looks to the player, and then he looks back to the ball, but he never quite gets back to the ball. You know, he just kind of turns his head a little bit. He's not really looking at the ball. And so when he goes up for the ball, he tries to play the ball, but their player, never got off the ground. And usually when you challenge for a ball in the air and the other guy undercuts you, they'll call the foul on the guy that undercuts you. Okay? Now, the ref judged that player was stationary and Chicho was challenging through him for the ball. Which, okay, you know, from where he was standing, that's probably what it looked like, or he wouldn't have called it that way. Right? So let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But it was oh shoot, what's his name? That guy. He was
Bedoya,
falling down the whole game.
Bedoya falling
No,
down. Martinez.
Martinez. Yes, yes, he was falling down the whole game. I was like, Martinez isn't a flopper. Where did this start coming from? He's just the guy knocking people over. He's their 8. He's their enforcer, right? And why is he doing this now? I'm like, that is so strange. But the odd thing was he didn't really challenge for the ball. He was kind of trying to block Chicho. And so I get where Chicho's coming from, challenging for that ball and feeling like he's going for the ball, and he gets undercut and smashed. And then Martinez is like, dude, I was just standing my ground, which that's what he called, so that's what it was. That was the end result of the foul. But normally when two players go up for a challenge, if one stays down, the call's against them. So that's, I think, why Chicho was mad. He's like, I challenged for the ball, and he didn't, and I got knocked down, and I'll get up again, and you're never going to keep me down because I get knocked down. Again. Sorry. No, but yeah, he was hot. He was very hot when it came to that play. And I was like, I don't know, maybe that's how he gets himself like wound up to play hard, but I don't love that part of his game. What were you thinking about that?
Yeah, I think you got a spot on, but I do think we've talked about it before. It just occurred to me, if Chicho is in LAFC or the LA Galaxy or Miami, he's gonna get a few, maybe a more of those calls than he does being from Real Salt Lake. And I don't
That's a
know
good
that
point.
I don't know if it's
Maybe he has to
intentional.
lead the league in scoring again from an RSL team,
Yeah.
and then he'll start getting all these fouls and calls for him. But
Yeah, and I don't know
I
if
don't
it's
know.
intentional or is it just subconscious with the officials. Hey, this is Real Salt Lake. They're rough and tumble. They're rough and ready. That's the way they play. They're just not going to get the call. Whereas in LAFC and some of these other clubs, oh, you can't touch them because they got to
Yeah,
put
Bawanga gets way more calls than
yeah
Chicho does.
they got to play fancy on the ball. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think that's interesting the way that kind of played out.
but I do think that he probably needs to adjust. I think if he adjusts a little and picks his spots when to
Yeah.
maybe be demonstrative with the officials, maybe it'll get better for him, and then he'll start to get more calls. But I do think that he's probably not going to get the call simply because he's on RSL. But you may be right. If he continues on down the road this season and maybe beats that one guy from Argentina in the Golden Boot, it's a different story. What's his name?
Messimo? No,
Bu-
no.
Bus- Busquets,
Oh,
Suarez, something.
Busquets. No.
Busquets, Suarez. If he bites more people, so no,
Woo!
I do think it's interesting, and I don't mind a little gamesmanship, but sometimes just play through it,
Yeah.
and the more you play through it and are tough, the more often you're going to get that call. If you don't go down every time somebody
Well,
touches you.
and our midfield does that. And Nelly and Ojeda do that consistently. So I think that's where we get that kind of rough and tumble attitude is from those two. They're always putting in hard challenges. They usually don't give up and fall down and flop. You know what I mean? They're usually
Yeah,
quite tough in the challenge and just dig in and dig in and dig in. Kids practice that at home. Practice digging in, just taking the foul, and don't practice flopping. Don't do
yeah.
it.
And one of the things I love about Ojeda is he looks to be an incredibly nice person, an incredibly nice player. He'll come in, wipe you out, and then pick you up, but there is not a lot of malice in his game.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's jovial, youthful fun, right?
Yeah, he's just playing the game. Whereas some other players, you can really see they've got some intent, and maybe that's the veterans. Who knows? But maybe he'll get that way. But I'd like that about him, where he just plays the game, doesn't let the officials, the other players, get under his skin as much as some other players.
Yeah. What did you see that play where Katranis got his yellow? It was just after half. I mean, I guess we should go to halftime first, but
Yeah.
then we can talk about that weird
So
challenge
we
there.
can we don't have Brennan here, so and it ends 1-0 at halftime. And
Yeah.
late in the first half, we almost got an own goal. That would have been fun. That would have added to the game where they crossed it over and the Philadelphia defender went off his leg and for a second it looked like it was going in, but it wasn't. We ended up getting a corner. But so the first half ends 1-0 with a surprising 1-0 RSL in the lead. We don't have Brennan here, so who's going to do the honors of taking us into
That's my howl of halftime. Halftime howl.
the halftime
That's
howl?
what we get when Brennan's not here. It's just not as
Brought
good.
to you by Teen Wolf 2.
Or 4? Aren't we on 5 now? I don't know.
Yeah,
Now
now
it got
the
progressively worse.
the
Yeah.
Justin Bateman version is bringing us halftime. Kids, go watch a dumb movie. So
Yeah, there's your
halftime.
homework.
There's your so halftime. Any
All right.
thoughts on orange slices? Tyler, you go first. Who's your orange slice?
All right. I'm giving my RSL random fan orange slice. So if you're on camera, you can see this RSL random fan podcast sticker. It's an orange, and it said "You earned this," and we're giving those out at the game. So come early, use the force on May the 4th, and we'll be handing those out. Look for us in our random fan shirts.
Yeah, well, we will be there.
And so I'm giving it to Ojeda. I just love the way he was wrapped up on that play. Still restarted quick, even though Gazdag just kind of grabbed him and bear hugged him. He just put the ball down, played quick. We got the ball up. It led to the goal. I just was pleased as punch, Brent, that I even said your name funny. Pleased as punch, Brandt, that he played the way he did. Just shook off everything. Was super bone crunching in his tackles. Was just tough all night long. There were a couple times where he wasn't quite in the perfect position, but I think in the first half he was so good that it just made everybody else around him better and kind of led to the goal. And I'm very, very happy with Brian and the way he's playing. He's killing it.
Yeah,
Love it.
there were quite a few players that could deserve an orange slice. I'm trying to think. Bodie had a bad giveaway early on that he recovered from right through the middle of the field to um, a Philadelphia player. Well, I was going to say Chicago, but that would have been a really, really, really bad. The pass was
Wow,
so
that would have
bad
been so
that
bad. A Chicago guy intercepted it.
and it was so bad a Chicago guy intercepted in the previous game. But Ojeda and Anelli are playing really
Yeah.
well. But I'm going to give mine to Gomez. I thought he has been dictating, and like you said, I've kind of changed my mind about him. I'm going to focus on the positives. This was after a couple of games in the season because I can tend to focus on the negatives because that's how you get better, right? Is focusing on where you need to improve. But Andres Gomez, he turns and goes and makes things happen and put the ball on frame, and we got a goal out of it. But then you think about it, who created the goal? I mean, Chicho.
Yeah. Ojeda.
Yeah, there was a
I mean,
lot of
yeah, it was a
good
great team
players.
goal.
Yeah,
But even then, it wasn't a great chance. That's the funny part, right? Like, it wasn't a great chance, but the ball went in. So, ball don't lie, right?
and there's only two of us tonight, so somebody's gonna miss out on an orange slice.
That's
So,
right. That's
uh,
right. I think with the defensive mindset of the game, I think it works out that only 2 orange slices are given away. I think the players will forgive us.
yeah, yeah. Oh wait, my phone's ringing off the hook. Never mind. Somebody's mad.
Oh, who was it? Anelli. He wants his orange slice. Okay,
No, it
we'll give
was
him one.
Katranis. Hmm.
Oh, okay. No, that's
No,
that's
no.
fair.
And Chicho's texting. Sorry.
Oh.
So,
Too funny.
so anything else for halftime?
Yeah, halftime, I was a little nervous. I got up and cleaned the whole house, man. I was like, I couldn't mow the lawn. I was just nervous energy, and I cleaned the house, and I was back to my nervous Nelly self of fandom. And then I was like, you know what? We're up on Philadelphia, and they have been one of the best teams at home. And you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy the second half. I'm just gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, they hadn't lost at home since what, 2022 or something?
Yeah, yeah, it's
It,
been a long time. It's definitely a fortress for them. They play that dupe song. Do you hear that?
doop
Like,
doop doop doo doo doop 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 doo doo doo. I've heard it way too many
yeah,
times. But
yeah.
it,
And we're not even a fan of their club, right? Like,
yeah. But
but
here's
it's unique. It's their thing. I like it. I think it's great to have once a year. But I think if I was in stadium and we were doing that every goal, I might get a little tired of it after, you know, how long have they been a club? 08, oh, 2010, 2014? I don't know. They're a newer one.
yeah, they haven't been a long time, but they've been really steady,
Yeah.
and they're a quality organization, obviously.
Well, and the other thing I wanted to kind of just chat about real quick is the uniforms. They went with the center, like they have they're stacked, right? So you have the Adidas sign, you have the Philadelphia Union sign, and then the sponsor, and they're all straight down from your chin if you're looking at your jersey, right? They're just straight down from there in a row, lined up. And not only that, but they kind of have a pattern that's about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches wide that runs from top to bottom like a stripe down the center. But it
Yeah,
doesn't look like a stripe because it's broken up with kind of a pattern mixed into it, right?
little triangles and diamonds.
Yeah,
I
whatever that
kind of like
pattern
it.
is, it's a cool kit. And the other thing I like is it has that like light blue trim, and the
Yeah,
the dark blue with the gold and the light blue. It's just a good color scheme. And you know what? While we're at it, it's kind of a cool crest. No one has a snake on theirs, dude. That's pretty tight,
don't
Classic Philadelphia,
don't tread on
you
me.
know. Don't tread on me, right? Like fighting back. I like it. I like it a lot. I think they're doing a lot of good things there.
Yeah, I agree. When you were saying dupe song, I wish I don't know why it ended. Probably had something to do with monetary remuneration, like giving Blur, track 9. When after we score, woohoo, we did the
Oh
when the
yeah,
RSL
Blur.
used to do the woohoo song. Yeah, I really love that. I thought that was a
Did
great
you?
song to have,
Yeah.
but I would imagine that they couldn't afford to pay for it or something, or maybe Deloitte just didn't want to pay for it. I don't know if it was
Yeah. I don't
ended
know.
with Deloitte or
Yeah.
um, before
Yeah, that's
Deloitte.
interesting because it's not like that song is like. I mean, it's the one hit wonder for that band.
Yeah,
They really didn't do anything else that anyone had ever heard of. Unless you're
but
a
I
fan of
thought it
them,
was a
then
great
I
song to get
apologize.
fans hyped up. Yeah,
I thought
now
so too.
the
And it was on
Blurs.
FIFA 98, dude. That's where it came from. Like it was on that soundtrack. And so those of us that played FIFA 98, if you're old enough to play that, okay.
Well,
Anyway.
we certainly don't want the blurries coming after us. Is that what they call the fans of Blur? The blurries.
Probably. Sorry, blurries.
We don't want you coming after us.
Yeah, and if you're friends with the flurries? The
Furries.
furries? No.
The
What are
flurries.
Taylor Swift's fans called?
Swifties.
Swifties, yeah. If you're friends with the Swifties, then we definitely don't want you coming after us.
No. But we do want the Swifties listening to our podcast.
Yes, we
Please.
do. She's gonna shout us out at her next concert, so
Yeah.
that's cool. She
She's going
did
to change
promise
it to
that.
the Random Eras Tour.
The Random Eras podcast tour.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're the title
Yep.
sponsor of the another Taylor Swift
I
World
am
Tour.
the title sponsor now.
You're going to change your name to Tyler Swift until she notices.
Tyler Swift. Yeah, Tyler Swift Thomas.
TST.
I was never the fastest guy. In fact, the only reason I was any fast at all is because I just started before anybody else. I was good at catching through balls, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that guy's playing it through, and I'd start running 3 steps before the other guy. So he had to be 3 steps faster than me to beat me, which happened occasionally too. But yeah.
Yeah. Before we get to the second half, a couple other things maybe to talk about. One definitely is Matt Crooks. What are your thoughts
Tell us
on
about
Matt?
Crooks.
Let me ask the question this way: is it Matt that needs to figure it out, or does the team have to figure out Matt how to play with Matt?
So here's my first thought. It's working good enough, so I don't think there's anything wrong, right? I wouldn't call anything wrong. I would say we haven't used him appropriately yet. Is that fair to say? Like he's interchanging little baby passes, little give and goes. He's doing good things. He's not a standout, one of the best players on the field yet. And I think he can be, but I think that's going to grow out of him as the season progresses. Like all of a sudden, he'll just pass, and all of a sudden he'll probably turn and just crack one into the upper 90, right? And we'll all be like, "Where's that been, Matt?" And it'll be all love and hugs, and everybody will be trying to jump up on his shoulders and tackle him to celebrate with him. But I think that will happen at some point. But I think he's trying to fit in right now instead of stand out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and he's probably not a true 10. He's probably more like Domi, where he's more of a utility knife back there, where he's not going to dominate a game, but he's going to be dangerous through the game. One thing that does concern me, listening to the game and also watching the game, one of the things that does concern me is his passing accuracy. I think there are times where maybe he misreads where a player's going, but there's times where he's just not getting the pass to where the players. That could be, him expecting them to be somewhere where they're not. They're not going fast enough. Maybe they're going too fast. But I think that needs to come up. His passing accuracy needs to come up a little bit, and I'm still willing to give him some time because that's all we got. We got nothing but time. But
We do. We do. But we're
well, yeah,
playing well.
yeah,
That's the thing. He's not getting in the way of our success. He's contributing to it, but I can see where he can do better and more. When will that
yeah.
start happening? I don't know. Is it going to be one of these things where Pablo has to bench him for a couple games to then get him back in and then say, all right, now let's do that? But the thing is, it drops off when you pull him out. Then we got to pull Chicho back, and then we don't have a lot of out and out strikers up top either.
So another
So
question, another
it
concern I have:
gets.
are we gonna run Chicho into the ground? Because
It's a good question. It's a good question. He
I'll
went the
tell you why.
full 97, right? Because he was in at the end of the game, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, he went the full 97, and he was hustling up and down the sideline, putting in his shift and doing the work. So yeah,
This
we
season, I was
could.
thinking about it. This season's kind of reminding me about not last season, but the season before, was it? Where RSL started bright. Surprisingly, they had a lot of things go their way, and then in the middle of the summer, I think we were playing LAFC and one of those teams, and we had an opportunity to go top of the table or like second place in the West behind LAFC, and we lost, and we lost all of our confidence, and then we just went on a horrid run through the end of the season and
Yeah,
just
we were
barely made
wondering
the
if Pablo was
playoffs.
going to get let go, right? Remember that? We're
Yeah,
all like, dude, is Pablo going to still be here in 2 games, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, we were in some heavy hot water there. I
yeah.
don't know
So
how
it
water's
is,
hot or heavy, whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah. So heavy water would blow things up anyway. So isn't that
Clearly, I
what
don't know what I'm talking about when the weight
heavy
of
water? Isn't
water.
that what they use to make, bombs and stuff, atomic bombs?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, look that up, kid. Look up how to acquire. No,
No,
don't.
do not look that up, kids. Don't do it.
So, but
Just lead you down a bad path.
it just kind of concerned me. Who knows? I'm just going to. They've already outpaced my expectations. I thought the
Yeah.
season would go a little bit different, where it kind of slowly builds, but we're in first place, and I am happy. I'm happy to be along for the ride. But is
Hard to
it?
argue with that, right?
Yeah. But is it a little bit of fool's gold? Is it a mirage, or we've seen how RSL has, you know, been bit by the injury bug?
Well, since we're at halftime, I
Yes.
mean, since we're here, let's just pull up the standings and kind of run through that. Miami has 21 points in the East. They've played 11 games. That's a points per game of 1.91 if you're keeping track at home. And Real Salt Lake have 18 points in 10 games. That's 1.8 points per game. And we're tied with the LA Galaxy, but at this point, because our goal differential is 8, so happy about a 8 goal
Surprisingly.
differential. I'm so happy about that. That makes me so happy. Anyway, but we're 2-1-1 at home, 3-1-2 on the road. So we have 2 losses and 3 draws, but we have 5 wins. So, I mean, is that good enough for first place? Probably not at the end of the season, 1.8 points per game. But it could be, because Vancouver and Minnesota are sitting behind us, but they played less games, and they're at 1.89 goals per game, or points per game, sorry. And
No,
then
I
it
would
drops off
I
after
would
that.
be
So
ecstatic if we were at 1.8.
at the end of the season,
Yeah,
yeah,
because
that's a really good,
that's a good
probably,
season. You
yeah,
want
good
2 goals
season.
a game. That's 68 points, right?
Yeah, and our goals against is only 9 for this season, which is there's 2 other teams that have 9 goals against, Cincinnati and Columbus. And those were the 2 top teams in the East last year.
Yeah, and San
So it's
Jose's.
exciting. What we're doing is good stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, I forgot. Atlanta has 9 goals too.
San Jose's doing it all wrong. They've given up 25 goals. Their goal
Whew.
differential is already minus 11. But
Yeah,
not
we
to
haven't
be
even played
outdone.
them, right?
Yeah, not to be outdone. New England has -12. And
Ooh,
Caleb, what's his name? The
Caleb.
new the new coach for New England,
Oh, Caleb Porter.
Caleb
Yeah,
Porter. He's
couldn't
got to
happen to a
be,
nicer guy.
yeah, couldn't he's got to be in some deep doo doo over there because they
Well,
got
when you get rid of a legend in Bruce Arena, and again, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but they said it was alleged misconduct. Again, wasn't
and,
there,
and
but
it
it
must have
seemed
been
to be
something.
unceremoniously done. So
Wait,
either it was pretty legit,
yeah, it was.
or I
No, I
mean,
think it was legit. It just wasn't scandalously legit. It wasn't because I
like he
believe
looked
the
good in
Bruce
that
Arena.
shirt versus like something much worse than that. I mean,
It was probably
eh,
just enough. It was probably accumulation, kind of like when you get that yellow
there you
foul.
go.
They probably went
Second yellow.
1, 2, 3.
You're
That's
out.
it, Bruce. But Bruce
That's
is,
it. Hit the
I believe,
showers.
he's been cleared to coach in MLS again. So he's done his penance and he can come back, and
Yeah,
maybe we'll see him there. But one other thing we want to talk
and
about
maybe
since we're at
not.
halftime, and
Yeah,
is how RSL is playing. That's I have some concerns that, well, I'm just going to go with it. I'm excited they're in first place,
yeah,
but I'm not going to let how I want them to play dictate how I enjoy the team because I would like to see
yeah.
them be a little less direct. Not much, because it seems like RSL gets the ball and off they go. Off they go. Off they go. And I would love to see them maybe head down that way and then maybe take a take a look at what they've got. And if there isn't anything there, Gomez, maybe send the ball back.
Yeah.
Recycle the ball. I'd like to see us do just a little bit more. Not a lot.
Well,
You can possess the ball
yeah.
to death, but I I would think that's going to have to happen when teams figure out that if they shut down Gomez, they might be able to stifle some RSL attacks. But no one's been able to do it yet, so just keep
Well,
doing
and
it.
what happens? The negative side of that, like, let's play this out, right? There was, I think, a 5 minute window where Philadelphia was just coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, and we've given up goals when we've had relentless pressure on our defense. But in this case, they were coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, and then we popped out a couple of quick counters, and they got shut down. And that's the downside of being too direct, is if you try to break out on the break all the time, it gets predictable because there's only so many things you can do. Play ball down the side, play ball in the channel, play ball right up the middle, other channel, other side, right? There's only about 5 ways you can do that if you're being that direct. And I think twice, maybe 3 times, Philadelphia held on to possession because we were too direct. And also, like, I want to put a big caution out there. Not a yellow card, but definitely a talking to our fan base, right? Like, take it down a notch, guys. We're in first place, 10 games in. It's a 30-game season. It's a long season, right? We're a third of the way ish through. And that's great, but let's exercise some caution. We haven't been here before, but let's act like we have. You know what I mean? Like, let's act like we
Yeah,
belong here and not like, nah, 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 we beat you, stupid Philly, because when you beat a good team, you show respect, right? You show class and maybe a little haha, or I saw a few good jokes out there from the weekend uh, in the Twitter sphere and on the Facebooks, um, but yeah, like, let's act like we've been there or that we belong here. One of those two, either way. And
yeah,
let's put a caution out there. We did not play well in this game. Not good enough to win. And we did. And I know that's probably not a popular opinion, but we didn't play great and we still won. Like, you can look at that both ways, right? Either way, you're still right. For me, we played okay and definitely in the middle and the back. We played well. But I think once we got into attack, we did not do a great job of breaking down Philadelphia. We didn't.
That's been a struggle too. I mean, even though we're scoring goals, we got a nice goal differential. There have been times. I think the only thing that saved us is the amount of attempts we create. We create a lot.
Usually. Yeah, but in this
So
game, we had what was our end of, did you see what was it? The potential, what do they call it?
uh,
Stupid
expected goals.
numbers. Yeah. Expected goals. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. Did you see the numbers on that?
So RSL had 0.5. That's what I see on Major League Soccer. And
yeah, they talked about that
Philadelphia
at the
had
end of the game on the broadcast. They were like, "Let's see, Chicho was 0.125, Gomez was 0.125, and Catranos was like 0.1, 0.01 something. It was like a 1% chance." And I was like, "And yet we won," So
yeah.
yeah,
So we had 4 shots on target. So 2 of those were the early Gomez shots within the first 6 minutes, and the
and the
other 2 were the
goals.
goals. So those were the shots on target.
Yeah,
And
not a stellar performance,
and
guys. Like
Philly,
let's
yeah. So we had 9 shots total. Philly had 15, but they only got 5 shots on target.
Yeah,
So
they missed the goal a lot too. They were, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches over the goal on a lot of their shots.
and you could argue maybe they're overrated. Maybe or maybe did they take RSL a little too lightly when they came in?
I don't know, but
So
let's get into the second half so we can
yeah.
talk about their missed
Yeah.
chances.
Brendan wasn't here. Halftime went kind of long because Brendan wasn't here to roll his eyes at the old guys, just
Just
chatting
chatting
away.
away,
Just,
love
what if? I don't know. So
it.
just pretend
uh,
like Brendan is yelling at us, and we'll move on to
all
the
right,
second half.
sounds
And
great. They came
we
right
went,
at us. It was a
yeah.
tale of two halves, Brent. Always a tale of two halves. And so
Absolutely.
in the second half, it just started off, and Vera played a ball into Catranas, and he tried to take a touch by um what's their outside back anyway. He tried to take a touch by him, and Catranas just grabbed him. But then the guy tried to swim him, and Catranas ducked into it, and he ended up hitting him in the with his forearm in the head. And so then he was down for a minute. Anyway, give him a yellow card. Well
Catranis
deserved.
tried to play it off like, oh, he hit me, but it didn't work out.
Well, yeah,
So
but you stuck your head into his shoulder pit or whatever you call that part of your body right there.
armpit. So what about your thoughts on the goal? So 50th minute,
Yeah.
pressure's on by
So
Philly. They come in and they get a pretty goofy,
so
but
at
really
first it
nice
was like
goal.
yeah, they're building, they're doing well, they're coming at us, but it was such a strange goal, right? Like Barajas kind of gave up the ball on the wing, and then Bedoya got it to the middle, and then Quinn Sullivan shot it over the top. Sorry, wrong highlight. Here it is for real. All right, so they came out of the midfield. I'm like, this didn't feel like it. Okay, it's the highlight before that, so I had it queued up just wrong. So, yeah, they're bringing it down the middle, and their midfielders and their forwards kind of interchange a lot. There's Gazdag and Ura, and they all kind of interchange and are really good in both positions. So, Gazdag plays it in and then makes that run down the line, and then Carranza holds it up and plays it back out, and they knock it around, and then a shot comes in from the wing. And on the shot, it looked like Gazdag was offside, right? Because
Yeah.
he was past Vera, because Vera was close to him, and Hidalgo was about straight even with Vera, and Glad snuck back into it. So Gazdag was ahead of Vera, but Catranos was back there, and you didn't have a great view of what that looked like, and so it was like MLS mostly goes with what the AR says. unless it's really obvious, right?
Yeah, and I think we'd rather see that rather than because there's a lot of pushback on VAR, especially in England. They are not happy with the way it's done over there. RSL or MLS tends to do it with a little more focus on perhaps letting the game be called by the refs, but
Well, and all they
without
need to do in England is just expand the error zone, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, there's a quarter of an inch of error," just make it 5-6 inches. If you're 6 inches offside, you're offside. I don't know, because there's all that debate about, well, when does he actually touch the ball? Is it the instant he touches it, or the instant his foot impacts the ball, or you don't have enough frames in the anyway. Yeah,
yeah, they need to increase the
there's a
frames per
lot.
second on there, and they could have they could do it, and they have the technology, I'm sure, to get the camera on that right angle, get a camera closer to the box in so
That's always measuring offside somehow
yeah,
in real time.
something
It's a
like that.
problem for some serious engineers, right?
Yeah, but I don't mind. I would rather have a little more human error than, but especially when they get it right so often. So I
Yeah.
I think it was close. I do think that he was probably onside by an inch or so.
Yeah, I think he
Uh,
was off by a couple inches. But either way, it's MLS, so he's even is on and even is close enough, and I'm okay with that.
and
But
then it was a nice
it
little goal.
hits him and it pops off to the corner, and McMath takes off like a madman running out to the wing. And I'm like, where's he going? And the ball takes a funny bounce, and McMath thinks it's his and he's got it easy. And then he realizes, oh boy, it's really coming over to, I think it was Sullivan, right? He was still in. Yeah, 49th minute.
Oh
And then
yeah,
he plays it across because he sees McMath is nowhere near him. And then
well, yeah.
Gazdag does
There's
that weird donkey kick and it ends up in the back of the net.
well, it's tough to run too when you got your arm straight up in the air because that's what Vera and Glad did. Glad Glad probably could have made a play on the ball and gotten there, but he was too worried about the offside call instead of just playing to the whistle like I'm sure you train your kids.
Yeah, he
So,
put his hand up like, you're calling that, right? And then he was like, oh crap. And he ran back and he stepped and the ball went right through his legs.
but you are right. McMath did go run out. It's like he could have maybe if he stays on his line, it's easier to save. But also, if Glad and Vera aren't putting their arms up and they're just forcing the
Just
ball out of
playing to the
bounds,
whistle.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Like
maybe
you
ends up
weren't on
different.
the line. Yeah.
But it was a
And
cute, cheeky goal, and so the Philadelphia ties it up 1-1.
yeah,
And
kind of sad.
what were your thoughts? It's like, oh, here we go. They're gonna RSL's
Well,
gonna. They played
that
well. We're gonna hold on for a draw. What are we gonna do?
yeah, that's what I was hoping. I saw that goal go in and I was like, that was not even that great of a play. It was mostly just we kind of like fluky, right? Like so fluky, you know?
And I didn't feel like watching it again. It didn't feel like there was a lot of didn't feel like Philadelphia for a lot of the game. Even after the goal, there wasn't a lot of urgency. Did it feel like they were just kind of like, oh, we're going to get a goal now, and we're going to beat them 2-1? I kind of got that feeling watching the whole game that Philadelphia maybe just there was a little lack of urgency, or am I just reading that wrong?
No, I think what they do is they get a lot of good chances, and even in this game, they created some really quality chances, and they even had what, two sitters, right? Like I think Ura came into the game, and had a chance like right in front of the goal, but then there was a lot of this like um corner kick grabbing stuff going on that I don't love. You know,
Yeah,
everybody's grabbing each other and pulling on each other, and
like
you
it's
know,
prom.
yeah, guess.
It
Ugh.
was it is
But
prom season, so
so so clearly Crooks, something Bedoya did just ticked Crooks off because Bedoya played the ball around him, and Crooks just stepped into him and shouldered him to the ground. And I was like, oh, that's pretty obvious yellow. And then Bedoya was laughing, getting up. I was like, that's funny. He's laughing. So he must have ticked Crooks off at some point in the game. That Crooks was just like, oh yeah, here's a yellow card. Good luck with that.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of. There's a little bit of bad blood on this between these two teams for whatever reason.
Yeah, and right about the 60th minute is when Gomez wasn't tracking back much, and I was thinking maybe we need to sub Gomez because they did a 1-2 and he did not run with his guy. Right? Do you remember that part of the game?
A little bit, but I was focused on before we get there was the bull crap in the box on a corner kick. I was just watching the replay where I think it was Martinez or maybe Bedoya was trying to stop Chicho, and Chicho fell down, and then Vera just kind of stuck his shoulder
in,
and he went down like he had a broken jaw. And then the handbags came out, and everybody was pushing. So,
that was silly, huh?
It was. Well, I kind of enjoyed it. The fact that it was a little bit of a physical, chippy game, but not dirty.
Glesnes got in there, and then Vera's like, "Whatever, dude, I didn't touch him." And he gets all like indignant about it, And it's like, "Yeah, go get him, Vera. Go for it, dude. But keep your head, That's the thing. You gotta get after it, but keep your head."
Yeah, and so I kind of like that. And then we can talk about an early sub. What were your thoughts on the sub, the 58th minute? Anderson Julio in for Fidel Barajas. Did we talk about him much? What was his impact? He wasn't in contention for an orange slice?
No, he disappeared for large parts of the game, and I think it's because he had to defend a lot. And I don't think Gomez defended nearly as much as Barajas did. And I was a little concerned about that. And when they went with Anderson Julio, I thought, okay, Pablo saw what I saw. He's going to pull out Gomez and defend down that side now. We're going to get Chang in there or somebody that's going to defend with their heart and soul, not let give and goes run right through you, right? Like that's an effort defensive movement right there. And that was the one that ended up going for almost a sitter, but we can talk about that one. But yeah, I think Pablo was like, hey, we need an over the top threat. Let's put him in and let's wreak some havoc. We'll get a few cleared balls up there and we'll, kind of go with that approach to the game.
And I think he was trying to figure out we didn't have enough offsides. So we need to get a couple of those on the books. We only ended up with 2.
Right. And heaven forbid we lose that category in one game, right?
Yeah. So I can't remember.
And on that play, kind of going back to that 60th minute play, where the guy gets down the line and Katranis and Gazdag are kind of tussling in the box, and Gazdag kind of like, I don't know what the right term is, throws his hand out, and that's why he was so wide open. It's because Katranis was in his way, and he threw Katranis down, but that's kind of why he also wasn't ready for that cross when it came in, because he had just shoved him down, and then he was like, oh, kick it in the goal, and his body wasn't turned right because he was too busy pushing Katranis down. So I was like, that's a weird play, So
yeah, well, I think he tried to swim. He's tried to swim past Katranis, and then Katranis he was so wide open, Katranis had to play it off like he got hit in the face. But
maybe.
And he went back the way.
Him in the face? I don't know. What's your face, man? Your neck? I think it's funny. Everybody grabs their face. Like, I hit you in the shoulder.
Well, they do it now because, it's a head injury. You got to stop the game. It's a head injury. So everything's.
Right. Or hands to the face is a straight red, right?
Yeah. So there's a little bit too much of that. But
almost
that
was on camera now.
That was an interesting shot. I don't know how he missed it so badly. I mean, he didn't even get it on frame. So.
No,
So
he
then,
missed it by a lot, which I thought was funny, but I think it was because of Katranis. Like the timing was just weird, and Katranis was trying to bully him, and he just shoved him down, and then Katranis grabbed his face. Ow! But
and
you know,
RSL had 3 subs, right? They used 3. So they had one the 58th, and then later in the game we had Chang come in for Crooks in the 80th minute.
which again, because Chang was going to play the outside, because at that point Crooks was playing the outside, because Chicho had already dropped into midfield, right? And it was kind of this, we're going to let Katranis go down the left, and we're going to kind of sacrifice that midfield side over there. And so Crooks was kind of playing a little bit. He kind of just plays more centrally. That's kind of his role, is to play a little more centrally as a winger, tucked inside, kind of like Johnson used to be. Remember that guy, Will Johnson? Remember back in the
Oh,
day?
yeah.
Yeah, him and Ned
Willpower.
Grabavoy kind of had those tucked in wings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
Johnson
I
has
like
one of
that.
the greatest RSL goals in history.
Oh yeah.
The was his right
Mm-hmm.
boot, one of those one timers, first
Yeah.
timers.
Yep. And then we had a pretty good chance in the 71st minute, right? Um, Crooks and Chicho were kind of combining. Gomez was kind of out there by himself, but then he kind of the way the ball, and I think this is where the beauty kind of comes out. Like Chicho did that thing where he looks like he's gonna pass left, and then he swings his right foot back, and outside of the foot knocks it out to Crooks, and
Mm-hmm.
he's thinking Crooks is probably gonna shoot. And I think this is again where Crooks is like, I think I'll just lay it off.
Well,
And maybe he shouldn't. I don't know. We'll see.
I think
I
this
think he'll
comes
get it
back
right.
to I think that play. That's a great example of the team not playing to Crooks. Because what happens? It's a lovely ball from Chicho. He had the great no look pass. Was it
Yeah.
in this game? Yeah, it was the first goal,
Yeah.
right? It was a no look pass from Chicho. So Chicho, another great pass to Crooks.
Yep.
Crooks gets it to Gomez. And Crooks is immediately pointing at his feet because what Crooks does is he stops. He doesn't go with the defenders.
He
And he
frees up
stops.
him space for himself.
Yeah. And there was nothing but space. If Gomez gives it
Just
a little,
plays it back to him.
squares the ball back in front of Crooks, he can go left foot, right foot, and nobody's on him. No one's in within 10 yards of Crooks when Gomez shoots. You've also got
Yeah.
somebody else, Anelli, or is it? Um, it wasn't
Julio's up
Ojeda.
ahead, and Chicho's attacking too.
Was it
Yeah,
Anelli?
Ojeda's back there. Ojeda, Anelli's way back there.
It was somebody. Maybe it was.
Catranas is way out left.
It could have been Barajas. No, it wasn't Barajas. It might have
No,
been
he was
Julio. It
off.
was Anderson Julio. There was
Yeah.
somebody else in the box. So Gomez had 2 players that he could have squared the ball off, and Crooks was wide open. Who knows if it goes in, but you could see that that's what he wanted, and that's
Well,
what
and
some.
yeah, I said somebody on Twitter even said, "Why did Crooks play such a bad ball to Gomez for that shot?" And I was like, he didn't. He played him a pass and he wanted it back, right? And that's
Yeah,
what you're saying is if he would have played it back, Crooks was in a perfect position, top of the 18, nobody around him, and Gomez just skies it into the night.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe that's when we'll see Gomez leave the team because he gets so much better because he understands the game a little more, where
Yeah.
he makes those passes, and that's how he ends up. We ended up selling him for a lot of money because you can trust him to make a really good play. Also, you have to be selfish. Shooters have to be selfish and take the shot,
Yeah.
but there are times like that where you don't have to take every shot. And if everybody
Correct.
knows you're going to take every shot, then you become easy to defend.
Easier to defend for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of those moments where they missed. Oh, this is how we should have been playing with Matty Crooks all along.
Yeah.
And if he
And
plays that right back to him, I think that's definitely where he could have shined. But again, they kind of have to let him shine. You know what I mean? They kind of have to have that mentality that he's going to score that goal, and then Gomez can make that fake and lay that ball back off to him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
One thing too, RSL's getting better at playing the ball out of the back, which I like.
yeah.
With confidence. They don't panic. Anyway, so do we want to get to the second goal, the game-winning goal?
Well, before we get there, I was worried. Honestly, at this point, I was like, I am so worried about the way we're defending. We're kind of defending in this like Christmas tree shape a lot of times. We kind of had 4 across the back and then 2 or 3 there, depending on which side they were coming down. Chang was getting up and back. He does good as a late game sub, especially a defensive late game sub. I'm kind of pleased with how he's played that role. But even with that, they were still kind of not really carving us up, but they were getting pretty decent chances out of that. They had 3 or 4, and I was like, man, if we get out of here with a draw, that's fantastic. I was definitely nervous that might not happen. And when Martinez, dialed up that shot from outside the box, I was like, McMath usually isn't going to get beat from that far out. And he was on top of it, saw it all the way, and really got after it.
When
But
was
then
that?
when we started, I think it was in the 83rd minute, right before 84th minute. And then Catranas almost got his second yellow, but instead he flopped and Martinez got a foul called on him. But there were kind of a lot of yellows in this game too. And Jim Curtin even said in the post game, he was like, hey, the ref was calling everything. If it was contact, it was a foul, and at least he was consistent, Like, I was like, he's giving the ref props. Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he was a little quick to the yellow cards, but that's how he wanted to officiate it.
Well, you don't have to pull out. You don't have to go to the printer, and you don't have to pull out a clip from like
Yeah,
Peter
headlock.
Vermees did.
Freaking headlock. The freaking headlock. I know. It reminded me of Petke, what Vermees did. I'm like, maybe Vermees has been there too long.
Yeah,
Right? Maybe he's just
Vermees.
been in Kansas City too long.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of him. So 5 yellows for RSL, 3 for. Did I get that right? Yeah, for
Yep.
Philly. So yeah, I
And
was
then
kind
by
of
then I
worried
was like,
too.
dude, we're going for it. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was kind of worried too. I agree with you that was kind of the game. We kind of expect RSL. Maybe not. Maybe that's not fair. But you're on the road. You're playing against a supposedly really good team, and that's just kind of how those games go, right? You either hold on for a
Yep.
draw or you do something dumb and give up a goal. But this season, RSL, maybe luck is on their side for now. Hopefully it doesn't
Well,
go away. I mean, we've seen it go like we talked about 2 seasons ago. We had luck go our way start of the season, and then it disappeared until the end of the season. We made the playoffs, though. So,
and RSL towards the end of the game started taking a few more fouls, started being a little more patient with their, positioning, and of course Philly was trying to push for the win, which was good and kind of made the game exciting down the stretch. And I think Catranas won a free kick, and then I forgot who won the free kick that we actually scored on, but we were starting to take a few more.
yeah, it was a corner too, though, wasn't it?
No, it was at
We,
midfield. We're just past midfield, but they dropped all the way back, and then Vera headed up into the box, and Glesnes headed it out, and Catranas just took a touch, had a shot. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing that Gomez did in the first half, but Catranas, the way he did it, he didn't go for power, he went for placement. And Blake saw it late, and it just snuck in that side netting, man. And like, what an amazing, amazing shot.
yeah, and it says it was Chang. Chang got the assist on it.
Oh, okay.
So the ball
Chang knocked
comes
that
in,
ball in. Oh
yeah,
yeah, it was Chang. There, yeah, you're right.
and then
Yep.
it kind of bounces out right to
Knocked out by
Catranas.
Glesnes. and then Katranis just put it in the side net, man. Like, what a sweet strike. And I would call it a fluke, except he did it before. This is the
Yeah,
second time since we've had this kid that he's done that for us. So 2 game winners, 2 goals, 2 stunner goals,
both feet.
both feet. And then Anderson Julio has, of course, an awesome chance late in stoppage time, and just, Andre Blake saves that one. So I think
Yeah.
that's our last shot on goal there.
Yep. And then we can talk about, I love at the end when Chicho, to get back to Chicho, where
Yeah, he doesn't stop playing hard,
he
right? You
pulled up
love
the
that about
landing
him.
gear. I think that's when Bedoya got his. This is a good question. So
Yeah.
near the end of the game, Chicho's got the ball. He sees that Bedoya is coming at him, and he jumps off the ground so they can't, clock him. And he fouls Chicho, and then Bedoya turns around, kicks the ball in his face. To me, he knew exactly what he was doing. I give him a red card.
Yeah. I was trying really hard not to be biased in that moment, but I think that's a straight red 90% of the time. I don't know how he escaped with just a yellow. Maybe because it didn't hit him in the face or in the head. It hit him in the chest, but still, dude, not cool. Not cool. Guys,
It,
when the ref calls a foul and you just ran somebody over, don't kick the ball at him. Don't do that.
it was
Not cool.
100% right in his face.
Yeah, I mean, I think it, like, if you watch the replay, on instant replay, they put it, and it looked like the ball hit him in the chest. So it just went below. It might have caught his chin on the downside, but it didn't hit him in the, the moneymaker.
Well,
The
and I
eyes,
guess
the nose, the mouth,
what I meant to say was it was 100% intentional. You can
Yes.
see what
And that's why it would
Bedoya,
have gone red.
and it was right in
Because
front of the
not
fourth
only did
official.
he knock him over on purpose, but then he went over and then kicked it at him on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's why it would have just gone straight red.
And I love Katranis, Vera, uh, Ojeda, Chang. They are all 100% right there. Lucky that
Uh-huh.
that guy, we didn't get a red on our side for people overreacting. But I would have
Yeah,
given that a
shoving
red
and pushing.
all day. I don't
It,
know what Andrew Wiebe
I
said.
don't I don't know. He said I guess I can see why the ref called it a yellow, but I think he was still on the side of red. But he's like, it didn't hit him in the face. And I'm like, it doesn't have to endanger the safety of your opponent. It could hit him in the nether regions,
Yeah, and
right?
it was just 100% intentional.
Yeah. And he even said maybe that'll be something that the rules committee looks at this week and adds a red on top of, or a
Yeah,
fine.
I wouldn't. I don't think that would be harsh.
No, I think it's warranted, honestly.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
RSL comes out of Philadelphia with
with a new way to win. That's what I was thinking. This is a new way to win for us. We played tough. We took 2 chances out of possibly 3 or 4, and we won. Right? Like, that was, I mean, a new way to win for me. That's what I liked about it.
yeah,
What
and
did you like about this game, Brent?
yeah, I like that. I like the fact that, like I said, I'm just gonna enjoy it, just because it's not going the way I expected. I'm not upset that RSL's playing better than I thought they would be. I'm
Yeah,
excited for that. I'm not upset that they're playing a style that I have to get used to, that I'm getting used to. I'm enjoying it. Um, I just going to forget about how they talked about in the preseason, and it is growing on me. But also too, I saw they had the highlight
yeah.
about which side of the field RSL played down, and it was almost identical, right side, left side in this game.
In this game, yeah,
Which if they can keep that up, that will make me happy. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but it can't be, 65-20.
yeah. No,
And
we can't be
I
doing that.
I think if they've made that adjustment and we see that more, yeah, I'm 100% excited for this team. And we still have the the summer window to maybe
Yep.
bring if we're in a position. I hope they're not thinking, "Oh, we're doing well. We don't need to bring somebody in." They should have the killer instinct. Let's say we are close to the top in the summer before the Leagues Cup in the end of July, August, when that secondary window opens up. Have a killer instinct. Bring in somebody. Doesn't maybe not a DP, but bring someone in that
Yeah,
can make a
especially
difference.
someone that can score a goal off the bench. We really don't have that. That's what I think is missing. And it's funny because we've never been this stacked before, honestly. I don't think we've ever been this stacked. Usually we have a gaping hole or two, and sometimes three. Remember when we had three gaping holes? I remember
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think the only thing that concerns me, well, there's two things that have concerned me all season, but they haven't become a factor just yet. The Bodie Brody conversation. I think if we're going to go down the right side all the time, and Gomez maybe needs a better, a better attacking, more rounded right back. Maybe Hidalgo becomes that, but
I,
maybe it's
I think
just
he's almost there.
yes.
I mean, and maybe it's just because I want to believe in him that I'm believing in him. But I like his frame. I like the way he plays. I like his mentality. I think a couple of years ago when he was just getting a few games here and there, he got turned around quite a bit. We haven't seen that this year. So, I mean, he's been solid. And Brody hasn't been bad. I mean, he gave up that goal in Philadelphia. I totally blame him for that one because he should have just stepped up. But anyway, not Philadelphia, Minnesota. One of those long sounding names. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where he went with his guy instead of pulling up and letting his guy get kind of
keeping him
push him
onside.
so he's not offside. Yeah.
And the
Um,
other area is a backup for Chicho, like you just said.
yes.
That's
Yeah.
what we need.
We have Chicho and then we have uh
Well, hasn't
uh
Chicho has played a role in either scoring a goal or an assist in all but one or two of the RSL goals this season. That's
yeah.
so maybe we shouldn't be riding him hard and putting him away wet all the time. But hey,
Yeah,
maybe that's
yeah,
where he
and you
wants to
kind of
be.
brought that up earlier. Yeah, yeah, you brought that up earlier. Like maybe we shouldn't, run our thoroughbred out every race, you know. But I mean, I'm sure he wants to play and he wants to do it. But maybe we give Gozo a game. Maybe we bring in Kai and throw him in there a game. You know, maybe we do some of that stuff. I'm not
Jockison, who
Again,
knows?
I'm not Pablo. I'm not a head coach in MLS, but I play one on the podcast.
And you yell at kids when you riff. You're the future, Tyler. Kids are our future. So children are our
But
future.
what I'm saying is, it's Chicho, Julio, and then it drops off a lot. So sorry, Chicho,
Drops off a lot.
Julio, and then it drops off. Then it's the kids,
Yeah.
right? And if you want that kid to be someone that plays in and maybe gets a playoff game, we got to have one of those kids playing, whether it's
Yeah.
Jackson or Paul or Gozo's had a sniff here recently. Maybe Kai comes back. Is he injured? I haven't seen that kid around. I mean, it's hard to
Well, he's
know
14,
at this
15
point.
years old. I'm sure he's got a lot to figure out.
Yeah, right, for sure.
But so anyway, so
Yeah,
I think it's time for what you've all been waiting for. The Come On Crawley update.
Da-da-da-da. Come on, Kai!
Yes, the Come On Crawley update. So feels like a soap opera, like
Brandt,
when we
take us
left
through
you
it.
when we left you last week. So if we looked at this, Crawley Town was in seventh place with 67 points, but they needed help because when we left you, there was two
Yes.
teams that had a game in hand, and I think
Oh,
Doncaster won and Barrow drew. So before we went into the final game, Crawley Town had to win. They needed to win. They could get a draw, and that if Barrow lost, then they
Yeah.
would end up tied on points, and then Crawley would have gone through perhaps with goal differential, but as it turned out, it all worked out in Crawley's favor. It was very exciting. So we had Grimsby Town come in and at home in front of a sellout crowd of
At the race course.
4,885 people. Crawley Town is a
Wow.
small club. Small club.
No, what's their stadium called again?
The Broadfield Stadium.
Broadfield. Okay. Yeah.
The
It's
Broadfield.
not the race course. That's Wrexham, right?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. I don't care. So
yeah.
So we come in. We start off. They've been playing kind of slow. A little. I think the pressure got to them.
Possession style. Yeah.
And Grimsby, no kidding, Grimsby had 2 Gazdags before like the 24th minute. Where
Really?
yeah, they had
Sitters.
Absolute sitters. They had one where the guy opened net 5 feet away from goal over the bar.
Whoa.
Like in the 8th or 9th minute. And the commentator, Tony Vesey, perhaps that's a sign that. And a few minutes later,
be their day today, Grimsby.
Yeah, and a few minutes later, they had another one where the ball came in, and the Grimsby player chested it down back across goal, and just missed it. But after that, it was all Crawley Town. Danilo Orsi, from a lovely assist from the American Jeremy Kelly into the box. Ooh. He chested down. The Grimsby guy's trying to pull him down, and he chips at the keeper, and we go up 1-0. And then he had like 24, 25 goals this season. And then later on, at about the 30th minute, 34th minute, Clyde Lolos, 1-on-1, just a screamer into the corner of the net, beats the keeper from his Clyde's right side, the keeper's left, cross in front of him into the goal, and it's 2-0. Then after that, it was just control the game. Grimsby, to their credit, they came into play. I mean, it's one of those things where if somebody else is you're not in the playoffs, and you don't want somebody else to get the playoffs, right? You're going to make them earn it.
Yeah.
And then,
but yeah, go.
I said, then it all went their way. Doncaster, Barrow ended up drawing. I think they played Doncaster. No, it was Mansfield. And Mansfield went up 1-0, and then Barrow tied it up. Let's see, when did they tie it up? They tied it up in the 58th minute. And if Barrow would have won, they would have knocked Crawley out.
Oh.
So it would have been
that
Crawley.
Close at the end, huh?
Yeah, it would have been Crawley crying by missing the playoffs by 1 point. Instead, it was Barrow.
All tight. It was like 71, 70, and then Barrow was 69, and so was Bradford City. And they even won their last 5 games to get there, right?
Yeah, Bradford was a little upset because actually the game I went to, one of the 3 games that I went to when we went over there this year to see my grandkids, not to see Crawley. I want to
No.
We did go over to see family.
Right, uh-huh.
But we do tend to go when soccer is played.
Of course. Why would you not?
But they saw some Bradford fans because there's a little animosity between Bradford and Crawley.
Okay.
And Bradford was up 2-1 late, even after a horrific Corey Adai own goal. And then Crawley, they came apart. Excuse me. Bradford was up 2-1, and Crawley ended up winning 4-2 with like 3 goals after the 85th minute. It was crazy fun.
Wow.
So that's how
the game you were at?
Yeah, that was the game we were at in January during the holiday. And then Barrow came into Crawley, and they played incredibly defensive. And they ended up winning like 1-0 or 2-1. I think it was 1-0. And Crawley just couldn't break them down. No, that one ended up in a draw, 1-1 or something.
Okay.
And Crawley couldn't break them down because that's what they figured out. Crawley loves to possess the ball, so you let him possess the ball. and make them break you down, and they couldn't break down Barrow. So because Barrow didn't come in and they played for the draw, it ended up costing them. So they got a point, and instead of getting the win, that point that they gave Crawley was the difference in who made the playoffs. So
tell us about the playoffs. This is not your NBA playoffs. This is not 5 games, best of 7 series, sweeping stuff. No, this is one and you're done, right? So Stockport won the league at 92 points, right? So they're an
yep,
auto qualify.
Stockport auto qualified
Okay.
to
Then
promotion.
Wrexham with 88,
They
and they auto qualify too.
they were yep, that was an automatic slot.
Okay.
And then
And
Mansfield
then,
Town also
uh-huh.
automatic spot. In League Two, unlike
Oh,
the Premier League, League Two, 4 teams go up. League One, 4 teams go down.
okay.
Championship and League One is 3. Championship and Premier League is 3. And
Gotcha.
also the National League, League Two, only 2 teams are relegated, and only 2 teams come up from the National League. That's why it's so difficult. That's why
To
Wrexham spent
get
a lot of time down
out.
there. That's why
Yeah.
Notts County spent several years down there. It is hard to get out of the National League.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
Notts
so
County
now,
finished way down the league at 14.
yeah,
But so these are the teams in the playoffs. So those 3 teams got the auto spots, but Dons, MK Dons, Doncaster, Crew, and Crawley all
yeah. And at
qualified for the
one point,
playoff, right?
yeah, at one point, Crawley was in 6th, and they didn't want to. No one wants to play Doncaster. They've won 10 of the last 11 games. They have
Oh
just been
boy.
on a smoking hot tear. And then late in the game, Crew Alexander got a goal, and they ended up picking up that extra point, which pushed Crawley down to 7th. And they're like, okay, because of the 2, Crawley uh, split the games with MK Dons. They actually went to the MK Dons when they lost, and then earlier in the season, maybe it was later, but anyway, Crawley beat them at home. They split the games, so they beat each other. But Doncaster and Crew Alexandra both got the double on Crawley, so Crawley didn't really want to play either one of those. Of course, it's hard to. They'll play whoever you want to play, but
Right. I
you
mean,
know,
if it's a spot in League
it's a
One,
spot.
right?
It's a
Like,
spot. But if
yeah,
you beat a team and you feel a little more confident.
a little more confidence.
So they next Monday,
May
they will
6th,
play at home against the Dons, and then I think that Saturday
May 9th, Thursday.
they play. Oh, you've got it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
They play away to the MK Dons. So Monday and Thursday, and it's the old school. It's 2
goals.
halves. Whoever has the most goals wins and moves on to the final at Wembley May 19th. And so the 2 teams, Doncaster
so
and Crew
whoever
Alexandra,
wins
play.
the home and away, wherever you want to say that.
Yes.
And then the other guys will do their home and home, and then they'll have a playoff at Wembley
for
if they
4th
win.
place. And it's really exciting. And that's May 19th. So we'll see how that goes. I may have to sell a kidney
to be able to travel over there
Yeah.
and see the game.
Because there's maybe I'll have to sell 2 kidneys, a
Maybe I'll
spleen.
buy it. I did.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
2 kidneys, a spleen, and who knows. So yeah, but that would be incredibly exciting. But it was exciting. Crawley Town has never been in the playoffs. They
Wow.
they when they got promoted out of the National League, they set the record that was beat by Notts County and Wrexham. The next year, they did exactly what Wrexham did this year. They went straight through League Two and up to League One. Spent 5 or 6 years in League One, and then were relegated back to League Two. So they've never gone through the playoffs. They've just won the league. So this will be a new experience, and it was really exciting. They kind of stormed the field, which is kind of a societal no-no, just a cultural no-no over there, but they did it, and it was really exciting, especially considering how it turned out last year. You'd rather barely make the playoffs than barely beat relegation, but it was all exciting.
Right. Yeah.
So,
which is cool because, yeah, last year barely beat relegation. This year held on, did great, qualifying spot. playoffs.
And
Like,
hopefully that we get
and if they
promoted
win,
because
what do they get?
they get to go play in League One,
League
promoted to League
One.
One,
And then if they win League One, then they go to Championship,
the championship, and then if they get
and
promoted
then the
there, it's the
Premier League.
Premier League. So 3 years from
So
now,
they're in the 4th tier with the Wrexham.
yeah, and it could be we really need. Well, hopefully they get promoted because that may be the concern. Is that may be the only way they're going to be able to keep Scott Lindsay. That guy has made a name for himself this year because this is his first opportunity to be a head coach.
Oh, you're talking
He's
about the
been an
coach.
assistant,
Because they
and
went
he's
through like 6 coaches last year, right?
yeah, he was the fifth. But in his
Oh,
career,
okay.
he's in his 50s. He was an assistant, and he's kind of been around. But this is his first head coaching gig, so hopefully, if we can get promoted or we can lock him up, because it is his first season, maybe because we almost lost him in the middle of the season to Gillingham, and Gillingham just fired the coach. So it's going to start all over again. I will be incredibly sad if we lose Scott. It will be terrible. But it's
Well,
been a magical season.
very exciting for Crawley and exciting to potentially be in the playoff. Hopefully they make it to Wembley. Even if they lose at Wembley, at
Yeah.
least they made it to Wembley.
Yeah, that'll be
That's a
fun.
cool experience, man.
And I
That's
would,
got to be cool.
you've got your Arsenal. Everybody can have a Premier League team, but do yourself a favor. Pick a team down the table somewhere, whether it's in the Bundesliga or whatever league you follow, Serie A,
Yeah,
the
or
Italian
support your
league.
local, yeah,
Yeah,
your local team, right?
so yeah.
Maybe
I
you
guess
live
you
in
should say
Louisville and
go to a Monarchs game.
just kidding.
But it's what we talk about.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of favorite teams, but the beauty of the way their system over there is the promotion and relegation. There's a team. I was going to look it up. Farnham. They are the Invincibles. Wow. Farnham Town FC. I think that's the one. You know what they're? Let me look this up real quick. They were talking about. I think they're in Sussex, and they're way down in the leagues. But let me see if I can find the table here because I thought about you.
Oh, sorry, I was drifting off there, Brant. Apologies.
I know. Just a sec. You'll have to edit this. You'll edit this.
17th league? Is there that many leagues? Come on, Brent.
There is
No,
a
over
lot of.
in big soccer games, Arsenal beat Tottenham. Went up 3-0, gave 2 back just to be nice. I mean, Tottenham's in 5th. They'll probably make Europe. They're close. The only team close to them is Man United. They're not probably close enough to make up 6 points. I mean, it's only 2 games, but it's got to go a lot your way. At the top, it's still crowded, though. Arsenal sit with 80, Man City with 79, but Man City have played one less game. I hate the term game in hand.
Yeah.
But one in the bush, one in the hand? What are they talking about? Anyway, so Man City haven't played as many games, so if they win their next one, they'll leapfrog over Arsenal. But if they tie, they're even on points. And it looks like Man City has a rougher draw down the stretch. They're both out of Europe, so they don't have that coming and calling because it's down to the final 4, 2. Anyway, there's only a few games left in Champions League. But Arsenal have Bournemouth, Man United twice, Everton, and Liverpool. Wait, no, not Liverpool. That's a
Yeah,
another
and
game
I
that's not
love
going
the
to be
way
in the
my
Premier League.
wife is a huge Jurgen Klopp fan, and Liverpool just played themselves right out of the table, right out of the race. You can't lose to Fulham and West Ham. You just can't do that.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
And
Not if you
there's
want to
some
win the league.
tension on the team. Mo Salah's not happy. Of course, he hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the Mo Salah of old for a long time.
Yep.
But
He's dropped off a bit, but they're still a quality team. They played the best at the first of the season, but they're still holding on to a spot in Europe, which is a big deal for them. And Aston Villa is too.
yeah, in
They've
fourth.
done really well. They're in 4th place, and They've got their World Cup winning goalie on their team.
And it's
so.
too bad all the excitement is at the bottom of the table and not the top.
Yeah, down at the bottom, teams that have been docked points: Nottingham Forest and Everton. Until this week was really struggling, and then they took it to Liverpool. They took it to a couple other teams, and they're at 36
Oh,
points.
yeah,
They're
Everton.
pretty much safe.
Yeah,
at this point, Everton.
Everton was the one that beat in the Merseyside derby. Beat Liverpool 2-0.
Everton is in Liverpool.
Yeah. So one other thing, I looked it up. Farnham Town. They kept talking about it because when I listened to the Crawley game, because they talk about Sussex clubs. Farnham Town. They don't live, but they play in the Cherry Red Records Combined Counties Football League Premier Division South. I have no idea what level that is, but they were talking about them. They had 108 points. 35 wins, 3 draws, no losses, so they are the Invincibles, just like Arsenal.
Like Arsenal. Just exactly like Arsenal.
But this is why I thought about you, Tyler. Guess what their goal differential is for the season?
10.
111.
What?
Their goal differential
111
is 111. They scored 178 goals this season. In 38 games. So, but they're a bunch of teams. But I thought that was funny. But I thought about you. You love goal differential.
Semi-pro team. Yeah.
111.
Yikes.
So anyway, we've yammered on. I haven't had the kid to
shut us up.
Shut us up. But like we've said, follow us. Subscribe on YouTube, goals.tv. We love to have some more subscribers there. Like Tyler said, we plan on being there before the game, somewhere at the RSL game. Maybe give out some stickers. Come say hi. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're still working on that MySpace. We got to find where we can get some dial up to get on the no.
I'm not working on it. You might be, but I'm not.
Oh, I just think it'd be hilarious. And then also go and support your friend, your buddy, Brandon Steinekert, Ghost Pickleball. Go buy some gear off of him. He would appreciate it. And we would too.
And so would we. And then bring it to the game.
Yeah, bring
paddle someone's head with it. Oh wait, no, don't do that. Never mind.
Well, it's not going to fit in the tiny clear bag they allow you to take into the game.
Oh, anymore. Right. You have to put it inside your shirt. I don't know. Yeah, I've heard some funny stories about people sneaking stuff into game, which we're not advocating, by the way.
No.
We think we should keep the rules, but
I was thinking there's been some complaints about the price of concessions, and I thought, it might be cheaper just to book yourself a flight and go buy a drink at the airport because it's like half price. I bought a Coke at the airport and it was only $3, and it's like,
oh boy.
So anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.